Hey, this is Brad Beaton. I'm the owner of AtlantaKilts.com and also AtlantaBagpiper.com. I'm sitting here in the shop of Atlanta Kilts, and I'd like to give a little discourse on one of my favorite topics with respect to playing the bagpipes. Here at my side, I have my grandfather's bagpipes. They're a set of 1910 Lowry bagpipes played during World War I. Still my finest set of pipes, and my grandfather inspired me how to learn to play the bagpipes. And I was up on the pipes at the age of 14, taught by Seamus McNeil in week-long summer camps when I was a teenager, and played in some really good pipe bands over the years. Grandfather Mountain when it was a grade 2 band, and Atlanta Pipe Band, grade 3 band. I've started 2 bands, a band that became the Palmetto Pipes and Drums under Billy DeBose, and I've started with my 2 sons, and some other fine musicians, the North Atlanta Pipes and Drums. But I would like to talk a little bit about finger posture. And the essence of good finger posture, and you can learn this without even having a practice chanter, is to shake your hands out, gently touch your thumb to your pointer finger, lift your left hand, lift your right hand, and that is the essence of good finger posture. Now, there's some fine points here. You want to note what happens with your wrist. So you can adjust the level of your knuckles with respect to your fingers with just your wrists, and you can also adjust the angle of your fingers with just your wrists. So notice the thumb. The thumb is turned. This is just natural, and it's not twisted this way. It's just turned slightly. When I teach students, when I teach beginner students the pipes, I always like to use my friend Sandy Jones's Beginning the Bagpipe. He's also one of my mentors as I learned the bagpipes, and he runs the North American Academy of Piping. In my opinion, his is the best book with respect to laying a great foundation starting from the very beginning, the most detailed on finger posture, and I'd like to use his book as a starting point for this short sermon on finger posture for the bagpipes. So he's got a list of do's and don'ts in his book, and his first do is keep the fingers straight but not stiff. Let me expound on that a little bit. If your knuckles are above the chanter, when your fingers fall onto the chanter, the fingers will naturally straighten out. It's not like you have to put tension in your fingers to keep them straight. It happens naturally. So that's my observation on that point. The next one is hold the chanter firmly, but not too tight. The firmness of holding the chanter only needs to be firm enough to stop the air from coming out the holes. Anything more than that is wasted energy and is counterproductive. Another point that I'd like to make is, whenever possible, play your chanter on your knee or on a table, because you don't need to be carrying the weight and worrying about whether the chanter will fall, because when you're playing the bagpipes, the chanter is attached to the bag and you never have to worry about that. So to keep the finger posture as light and easy as possible, always play with the chanter on your knee or on the table. By the way, that's one of the reasons that I like my beginning students to start on a long chanter. It facilitates resting the chanter on the knee or on the table. So the next point is position the hands so that the tips of the fingers point slightly downward. This will make a V or pie shape between the E and D fingers, which will allow room for the little finger on the left hand to move about freely. So let me show you what that's talking about. So with my fingers pointing downward on my right hand and my fingers pointing downward on my left hand, that leaves a space for this pinky. Now let's talk about this pinky. This pinky, its only job is to help or assist or ride along with the E finger. This is the E finger. When the E finger is down, this pinky is completely at rest. I see sometimes people holding the pinky up like this or curling it under and putting stress in these muscles. There's no point in that. Just that pinky should be absolutely at rest when the E finger is at rest. When the E finger's on duty, the pinky helps out and comes along. Okay? So it says place the E, F, and high G fingers, that's these fingers, of the left hand on the first pad pointed downward slightly. So you can see how that is right there. Place the high A finger, the thumb, on the hole with the thumb positioned at a 3/4 angle, not on the flat of the thumb. So taking a look at the thumb, if I just move the chanter out, see how that thumb is not like this. Matter of fact, if you try to rotate the thumb to the flat, it messes up your finger posture. So you want your hand to be like this, very relaxed, and the thumb turned slightly toward the chanter, like this. The next point, place the low G finger, which is the right hand, on the first pad, and the B, C, and D fingers on the second pads pointed slightly downward. So here we have the first pad, second pad for the B, C, and D fingers. There we have it. The fingers have a slight downward angle. Again, the next point made here is place the thumb on the back of the chanter, place the thumb of the right hand on the back of the chanter behind and between the D and C fingers at a 3/4 angle. So again, it's not the flat. Otherwise, you're going to be messing up your finger posture. So it's like this, just like we started with. Remember when we loosened the hands and just brought them up like that? Very ergonomic. And when you play, again, being as relaxed as possible is going to be helpful. All right, here are the don'ts. It says, don't curl the fingers over the chanter. So you don't want to kind of get this going, right? Again, having your knuckles slightly above the chanter and letting the fingers fall on the chanter is key. Don't place the fingers in a horizontal position. So we're not looking for this, where the little pinky there's no place to go. We want to have that slight downward angle. Don't curl or point straight out the little finger on the left hand. We don't want to play like this all the time. Think about all the muscles that uses to have it like that, or even curled under all the time. We just want it to be relaxed when the E finger's down and to help out when the E finger needs to come up. And the last point is, don't grip the chanter too tightly. And sometimes I see people, when they finish playing the chanter, there's deep imprints where the hole was on the chanter, which just tells me that they're just gripping it way too tight, gripping the chanter way too tightly. Should be very relaxed. This is the foundation of bagpiping, finger posture, just like finger posture is the foundation of learning to play other instruments like the piano or so forth. So before you begin, before you blow the first note on a chanter, you can take a stick from the yard, you can take a broomstick, a short, even a 1 foot ruler, and just work on finger posture and think about the role of the wrist, the role the wrist plays, and how to get your fingers on the chanter in the most comfortable, least stressful way. So before you ever take your first lesson, this is a great place to start. Again, I'm Brad Beaton with Atlantic Hilts and AtlantaBagpiper.com, and I wish you a great journey in piping. It's been a great journey for me. Thanks. Bye.